What is up, everybody? Welcome to Talk Wrestling here on NoDQ.com YouTube channel, the Greg Sherry brand, and of course on the Jeff Meacham Network. Thank you guys for being here today. I know usually Mondays is Talk Wrestling, Ask Me Anything, and I really thought long and hard about where I was going to go with the show today, and I decided that I needed to say what I need to say. As the description says, let me be frank right off the bat here. The views of my views today do not necessarily reflect the views of NoDQ.com or Internet Rift or Greg Cherry or the Greg Cherry brand. But I have been thinking about this for quite a while. As a matter of fact, I really wanted to pounce on it when they did the story with McIntyre repeatedly being punted in the head by Randy Orton a couple weeks back on Monday Night Raw. And the commentator, I think it's Tom Phillips. I don't really pay attention who's on what show commentator-wise. I don't really care. I don't, honestly. But they, without even thinking about the garbage coming out of their mouth, whoever it was, said, it could be a skull fracture. And it's like, no. So there was that. And I thought, okay, well, they're being fed the information, right? They're being told what to say in their headset and whatever. And that's fine. So I kind of just let that one kind of pass off, right? Then I watch All Out on Saturday, and I know that the internet was buzzing about this, and I know that everybody is questioning the decision to continue the match between Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara, the Broken Rules match, and there's a lot of things being discussed and a lot of shit being thrown around by a lot of people that don't know what the hell they're talking about, okay? And again, I'll tell you right now, I am not a doctor. I have no medical training whatsoever, and I've never been in a situation like Tony Khan was in on Saturday night, where you're in the middle of a show, you're in the middle of a match that you've heavily touted as a feud ender, as the end of the road here, right? And you have a guy who probably got his bell rung. He's probably got a concussion. But the guy's old school, and you go ahead with the process. And again, I don't even have a problem with that. I really don't. My issue with Tony Khan, my issue with AEW's decision making comes in the statement that Tony made prior to the end of the pay-per-view, where, and again, if I'm wrong in the chat room, please let me know if I'm stating any falsehoods right now, okay? Tony stated during the pay-per-view, or maybe immediately after, maybe it could be immediately after, honestly, that Matt had been checked out between the time of the match being stopped originally and the time the match was restarted on pay-per-view, and that Matt had passed whatever concussion protocol test he needed to pass. That's where I have a bitch. Because having gone through exactly pretty much what Matt went through, going through what people that deal with concussions on a daily basis go through, there is no freaking way that any credible concussion protocol test takes that short a time. Now, I did see a particular person. I'm not going to throw him out. I'm not going to throw him under the bus or give him credibility on my show by saying his Twitter handle, right? This person tried to defend Doc Samson's assessment of the situation because, well, he saved Jerry Lawler's life. Okay. I'm not discrediting the fact that he made sure the King made it through Montreal all right. I'm not discounting that. Okay. What I'm saying is there is a world of difference between a cardiac arrest and a concussion or brain trauma. There just is. They're not even apples and oranges. They're apples and freaking bananas. And that's what the situation was, is bananas. Complete 100% bananas. I really wanted to take more time and get a hold of Chris Nowinski and get a hold of other people that I know have credibility in this field, but I needed to get this out there. And if anybody has contact with Mr. Nowinski, Dr. Nowinski, if he is not, I'm pretty sure he's PhD now. So if anybody has contact with Nowinski, let him know. I'd love to have him on to discuss this, because this is near and dear to my heart, and I will explain momentarily. The bottom line is, they made the wrong choice. And, people have talked about for 21 years that Vince made the wrong choice back at Over the Edge when they decided to keep the show going with Owen Hart after Owen passed. And I agree with that. I think the show should have stopped right then and there. Boom, done, over with. Okay. That's my opinion. Right. But that was 1999 when everything was sensationalized. The shock TV era, the Attitude Era, Crash TV was a thing that the WWF subscribed to. Okay. We're in 2020. Okay. We are over 13 years since the tragedies of late June when Chris Benoit and his family, with what happened in Georgia. Okay. Now, from all accounts, Tony Khan is a lifelong wrestling fan, from what I've been made to understand. Okay? Which means he's been a fan for at least 13 years. Which means that he, like the rest of us fans, lived through what the business went through in 2007, when everybody wanted to just shut wrestling down because of one man's incoherent decisions. Okay? Matt Hardy is old school, and that's fine. And I understand the show must go on, and you continue, and you do what you have to do. And I saw your super chat, Caleb. I'm not really addressing it just yet. I will. I promise. I need to just say this, and I will gladly address anybody that super chats. I appreciate the out of it. Thank you so much. And Aaron thanks you for that too, because we need the money, right? Okay. Anyway, the wrong choice was made. Now, the reason I sit so high on this pedestal, if you will, or high on this horse, is, and a lot of you don't know this, and especially you in the No DQ chat side of things, and on and maybe even on Greg's page to a certain extent. I don't know, but some of you watching on my show, on my channel may know this. 19 years ago, actually, it was just a couple weeks ago, was the anniversary of the occurrence. In August 2001, I was in a very serious car accident and ended up suffering a severe blows, I should say, to the back of my head, resulted in a double skull fracture, multiple concussions suffered in that incident alone. This eye is permanently impaired as a result of that accident. This ear is permanently impaired, not completely gone, but there's a lot of fuzzy in here. Always. Because of that incident. And again, I'm hesitant to go here, but there have been severe changes in my mental makeup since that incident. The guy that you have all known for 18 years has been that guy. If you knew me prior to August 2001, you knew a different Jeff Meacham. And that's just the way it is. And unfortunately, there are very few people in my life that remember that Jeff Meacham, that were around that Jeff Meacham. The majority of you guys, you are post-trauma Jeff. And That's unfortunate because Jeff in high school was actually pretty mellow, pretty easygoing. Very he was a lazy ass in high school and junior high school. There's no question about that. But much more laid back, much more fun loving. I love to have fun, and I love interacting with you guys and watching my shows, and having a best friend who's the best thing in my life besides my son right now. I love it. Yes, Ken, way before Talk Wrestling. Talk Wrestling was July of 2007. The accident was August 2001. I was originally supposed to. I thank you. I appreciate you guys pointing that out. My past, and I'm glad I brought this up. That's awesome. I was in my education process of becoming a teacher. I was going through the steps of becoming an educator. Before the accident, and even in the first few years after. But part of the change of my mental makeup was that I could not. My patience was severely affected. I can't deal with a lot of things that I used to be able to, and one of them is, or two of them are large groups of people, and large groups of children, especially. So being a teacher, not so much. That's why when I got the email from Aaron in 2002 to go into this, I was like, absolutely. And I still continue with the education of the teaching thing, just in case it didn't pan out. And granted, money wise, it hasn't panned out in 18 years. That's why I'm still going, right? But creative satisfaction wise, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me, was sitting with a microphone on my head or in my ear and being with you guys, right? It's amazing. Yes, Adrian, I am on medication as a result of the trauma. Actually, back in March for my birthday, I went and saw this lady for my birthday. We went to we had a great weekend. We watched the Kings, my Kings play her Golden Knights. By the way, go Knights go. They lost last night, but God, I hope they do better. Going forward, I hope they win it all this year. I know people, the Kings, are at me, whatever. I boarded a plane the next day to come home here to LA, and I ended up conking the back of my head on the overhead compartment door of the airplane at McCarran, and flew home, which was so fun to fly with a concussion. That was exciting, and I've been dealing with it ever since. And we are just now waiting the results of the EEG and the MRI. So we'll see how that goes. I'll let you guys know. It'll be on a Wednesday that I have the appointment to get the results led to me. So whatever show is that week, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, so I found myself watching All Out and just seething, just anger. Because at first I thought they're making light of head trauma, because Matt just bounced right up like it was nothing and went on and ended up winning the match because Sammy took a large bump also. It's like, I'm just sitting there going, first freaking McIntyre and Orton do this. Well, here's a skull fracture. No, Tom Phillips, he doesn't have a skull fracture, you uneducated buffoon. Right? Just saying. Or whoever's feeding you the bullshit in your headset is an educated buffoon. So take out what it's worth. And then this last night, Saturday night. So it's awful. It's just awful. So, Adam, yes, I did. When I conked my head on the plane, they did give me the 2-minute concussion protocol thing right there on the plane in my seat, because they did not want me to fly home or risk flying home if there was a really like high risk. Um. Anyway, but I blame myself as much as I am blaming Matt Hardy for what happened Saturday, because I told the pilot, just go. I want to go home. I don't want to get treated at some hospital here in Las Vegas. I don't want to be away from my family anymore. If this is serious, and I'm pretty sure it is, I want to go home, and I want to go home now. So they made me sign the release, and off I went. So anyway, that was back in March, as I said. So let's see here. Okay, cool. Sorry, I'm reading a notice from Edison. They might have turned off our power today, but it looks like it's not going to. So, yay! I have thought about being in a bubble, David. This is I have thought long and hard about becoming a giant bubble wrap person. Especially, I mean, it wasn't just the one in March. It wasn't just the one 19 years ago. I've conked my head many times, and it's always just one of those where you go and you shake it off and you move on with your day. But when you think back after something like what happened in March, you go, maybe I should have gotten checked out. So that's why I'm upset. That's why Tony Khan trying to feed us some bullshit story about, he passed concussion protocol. No, he fucking did not. Excuse my French, Aaron. I'm sorry, YouTube. On Aaron's side, I apologize. There's no freaking way he passed a legitimate, thorough concussion test. No damn way. Now, I will say, going to the hospital and getting checked out and going home and he's going to be on Dynamite Wednesday, that I can believe. Because I know firsthand that you can get a concussion and still leave the hospital the same night and still, go on with your week, right? I don't deny that Matt can do that. And honestly, Matt and Jeff Hardy are like freaking Teflon. They are two of the toughest, craziest people on the planet. And I don't doubt that either one of them could, literally bounce off the concrete and go, all right, moving right along. But it's not safe. And after what we know about concussions and CTE and everything like that, very, very inappropriate, unnecessary happenings at Daly's place on Saturday. So, and again, I invite Tony Khan to come on this show or appear on any credible, relevant discussion platform and prove beyond the shadow of a friggin' doubt that Matt Hardy passed a legitimate, viable concussion test. Because the only way that it's actually legitimate is if everything prior to the restart was pre-taped. It's the only way it's real. Only way it's legitimate. Because I said that I freaking searched everywhere I could. Every documented thing I could find said at least 20 to 30 minutes. At least. So, no, Tony, he didn't pass a concussion test. I'm sorry. He didn't. And for you to feed your audience that line of bullshit was irresponsible and, quite frankly, disgusting. I'm just being honest. And the fact of the matter is, it did kill the show to a lot of fans, as D. Ross says in the chat room. I don't think that was necessarily. That was necessary. I guess okay. I don't think that was necessarily the case. I think that, and I'll give the girls credit. Sheeta and Rosa, did what they had to do and just went on with the show, right? So, Yeah, rugby's no joke. You're talking about a concussion in rugby. Yeah, Dylan wanted to play football, like hardcore tackle football this last year. We're like, nope, not until you're 13 at least, maybe even 14, because it's concussions are a real thing. All right, Caleb, I promise you I would put this up there. So Caleb Jacobs with a $3.94 super chat says Matt Hardy is a veteran for a reason. He's awesome. I'm hesitant to give Matt credit because I don't know if that's the right decision in 2020 to man up or be a tough guy and wrestle like that. Yeah, I don't know how much of, I can't know. Adam's pointing out that it was Stone Cold Owen level. Matt was a vegetable. I don't know how much of that was Matt putting on for TV and how much of that was, oh my, Jesus Christ, I'm seeing stars. I've seen that. I've had that. I've been that look, right? I would love to talk to Rick Knox because he was right there pulling Sammy away. I would love to talk to Rick. I'd like to talk to Aubrey. I'd like to talk to Rick in particular because I've known Rick Knox for over 15 years, and I would love to have his opinion on this. Mohammed, I will probably do an actual Ask Me Anything on Thursday, so note that question in your log, and I will address it. I will address it on Thursday if I do a show Thursday, because tomorrow is going to be something special. Tomorrow is completely 100% not wrestling, and we'll get to that momentarily, as I said. Yeah, exactly. D. Ross, you can see Sammy repeatedly checking with Matt. Are you okay? Are you okay? And, of course Matt's going to say he's okay. Again, Matt's old school. He's, he was brought up to continue no matter what happens and just get through everything. And that's not the way to do things anymore. It's just not. For those of you just joining us, and I appreciate it, if you're on the Jeff Meacham Network or the No DQ channel or the Greg Cherry brand, I appreciate everybody being here. You missed the basically the main course of the deal. I did, Ken. I got the NWO Cup as part of my NWO. Let's see if I can, the box here. That came as part of the package. It was very welcome. That's my Jack Daniels Cup usually because I pour my honey Jack and Cokes in there for Lemmy because Lemmy was a wrestling fan. So there you go. Big G's here. Love it. Glad everybody's here. Yes, D. Ross. I'm going to throw. I won't be able to stay, but I'm going to read your question, D. Ross. Do you think they need to retrain wrestling on how to deal with concussions? 100% yes. There needs to be a serious overhaul of the concussion protocol within professional wrestling. No question about it. And Tony Khan was a great example of that on Saturday. And I will also I'm not going to try to kick Tony while he's down, but Vince McMahon having his announcer speculate a skull fracture from Drew McIntyre, and again, it may be irrationally pissed me off, but it did piss me off because I dealt with skull fractures. Awful. Just it's ridiculous. All right. So I said my piece. I tried very hard not to yell, tried very hard not to swear. I got one F-bomb. I think it allows me one F-bomb, and then I have to be put on timeout. So thank you guys. Let's see here. I want to run a commercial, but I don't have any lined up because I wasn't prepared to do anything beyond the rant today. But I will say that well, that's okay. So Dad's on Friday this week. which is Friday, September 11th. If those of you that aren't on the calendar, you know what, Colin, I will plug you. Colin, throw your link up there, and I'll throw your thing up there. I'll move Bailey, I guess. But yes, concussion headaches are far worse than a headache or a migraine. They are the worst thing ever. You lose your taste sensations get screwed up. It's a freaking mess. Awful, 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 guys. I can't stress enough how dangerous they are, and they are. It's a horrible thing. Anyway, so anyway, Friday on Dads. We're going to go back almost as far as I went back today with my story. But before I do that, there's the Cleaver. There you go. There's the Cleaver's channel, Colin Andrew. Boom. There you go. Throw it up there. Yes. 19 years since 9/11. From what Adrian says, and it is. And as a matter of fact, the show on Friday for Dads is going to be JJ and I talking about the September 13th, 2001 episode of SmackDown. Most of you know by now that that episode was supposed to be recorded Tuesday night, September 11th in Houston. And the world changed that morning forever. And if you guys do your math right, that was 2 weeks to the day after my accident. So I watched the world change from a resting bed and my couch. That's it was a very intense show that Jay and I recorded, and we did record it prior to the things with Orton and McIntyre and with AEW this weekend. So I may not seem as intense, but I was still very emotional when we recorded it. Tomorrow on this show, Wednesday, first of all, let me do Wednesdays first, because Wednesday is a wrestling thing, so I'll do Wednesday first. Wednesday is going to be a double feature for the very first time on Wrestling Rewind with Greg Cherry and myself. We're going to be watching 2 X Division classics. No Surrender 2007 between Kurt Angle and Jay Lethal. And then the greatest match in TNA history, even Meltzer says so, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe from Unbreakable 2005. I can't tell you guys how happy I am that we're watching this match. I'm excited as hell that we're going to watch those matches. 2 of my favorite matches of all time, 5 of my favorite people of all time in wrestling, period. And it was an amazing. We haven't done those yet. Those have not been recorded yet. I can't wait to see. What happens with Rewind tomorrow. If you're a fan, and if you're not, that's fine. Not everybody is a fan of the franchise, but if you're a fan, I encourage you to come to the Jeff Meacham Network on YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope / Twitter, because tomorrow we are celebrating a day in history that is near and dear to my heart. Tomorrow is Star Trek Day. It's 54 years, which is mind-boggling to me, since the premiere of the original series of Star Trek back in 1966. So I can't wait to see what kind of reactions I get from doing a completely off wrestling discussion. But I love Star Trek. I've always loved Star Trek. So I can't wait to see what my audience thinks of my nerddom regarding Star Trek and the Next Generation and DS9 and Voyager and Enterprise and the movies and everything. So I'm going to have fun. Yes. If you are a subscriber of CBS All Access, which I encourage you to be, by the way, at midnight tonight, they're going live with streaming various Star Trek things. I think the first few hours they're streaming the pilots of each show, which is going to be awesome. I haven't seen Discovery at all yet. That'll be cool to watch. So, anyway, Big Baller G, we do not have a plan for Halloween as of yet. Again, it's a matter of getting everybody together and getting everybody agreeing on date, time, and length of show. So stand by on that, G. Thank you. I will, again, Mohammed, I will address your questions on Thursday when I go to do a proper talk wrestling. This is more of a talk concussion, I guess, and talk medical than it was talk wrestling. So I will make up for it on Thursday. So there you go. All right, guys, that's it. Again, top of the hour, 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock for you East Coast kids. We will be running that Raw starting. And if you're in the Thunderdome, God bless you, because it's a train wreck, but it's fun. I appreciate everybody being here. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you guys putting up with my editorial, because I've been freaking fuming all weekend. Like, I've just been so upset at this whole thing, and I can't. I've been so mad. So I appreciate it. You guys sticking with me throughout my my ranting and raving. Just so frustrated. But I'm glad you guys didn't crucify me when I said what I had to say. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. Again, check out Greg's store on Teespring, Greg Cherry Brand on Teespring, all the awesome shirts he designed. Check out my stuff if you feel inclined to buy one of my shirts or my tapestry. It is appreciated, of course. And you can follow me on social media if you're not already. You should be. Facebook.com/Jeff Meacham Network, and Twitter and Instagram @_Jeff Meacham. That's it for me, kids. I will see you guys tonight during the review for Monday Night Raw. If I get to watch Raw East Coast time, it's always a crapshoot trying to watch it at 5 o'clock because I got a bunch of shit going on. But if I get to watch it, I'll see you in the chat room tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow for Star Trek Day on the Jeff Meacham Network.